31 days to the 2024 general elections. Hashtag Stop Galamsey now still on. Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday News. The Midday News is live on Joy 99.7 FM here in Accra. In Kumasi, we're on Love 99.5 FM. We're live on myjoyonline.com, live in all 16 regions. Jubilee Radio in Keta. We're on Flow FM in Aflao. We're on Ganga FM in Jirapa. X Spaces, we're live also on Facebook. The Midday News is supported by Petrol Soul Platinum Energy, energizing dreams. This afternoon.
Well, I want to thank you all very much. This is great. These are our friends. We have thousands of friends.
Former U.S. President Donald Trump reclaims presidency in emphatic win in Tuesday's U.S. presidential election, sweeping several battleground states to defeat Kamala Harris.
I want to thank the American people for the extraordinary honor of being elected your 47th president and your 45th president. And to every citizen, I will fight for you, for your family.
We have all the details along with an exploration of the parallels that have already been drawn between the upcoming elections in the US and Ghana, both featuring a former president and a sitting vice president in the race.
Overly bastardized Donald Trump, but they chose a West brigade of people. The Ghana situation is that they over-bastardized President Mahama.
The NDC can wallow in their confused state.
We're on the campaign show here in Ghana as well, and it's the push for every vote as the NPP and NDC take the campaign message to the electorate. Also this afternoon, Fair Wages and Salaries Commission condemns Clocksac's decision to strike starting tomorrow, calling it an act of bad faith, giving ongoing negotiations for a new salary structure.
The government team agreed that Fair Wages should write to communicate the government's offer, which was done. We have not heard from them. The only thing that we had gotten was a notice to go on strike.
Well, the Commission's chief executive also expressed frustration over what he described as Clocksac's leadership's recurring call to the president for his dismissal.
Right. And for me, we don't take kindly to that because it's been a strategy, an age-old strategy that they have adopted for all this while. They were asking the president to remove the Fair Wages Board. What was the reason? Nobody cited any reason. You cannot cite me for incompetence.
We have sports.
Well, plans to introduce regulations supporting a third term of office for the president of the Ghana Football Association has been met with fierce resistance even before it gets to the Executive Council. We've got details of that in a bit.
We'll see you shortly. And also in our latest episode of Climate Focus series, we'll tell you how a fire mapping technology in Ghana is transforming wildlife response and safeguarding our environment. That and more in this afternoon's edition of the Midday News. I am Emefa Apawu. Please do stay on for details. This is your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. Is also your election headquarters.
Election Headquarters is brought to you by Petrol Soul Platinum Energy, energizing dreams, the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants (CIMA) and the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants (AICPA), together as the Association of International Certified Professional Accountants, German Ozone Medical Center, Alternative Therapy, Dental, Wellness and Beauty, Shopbox Technologies, a convenient service, Youth Bridge Foundation, bridging the gap for positive youth development, and Syntex Tanks. A year strong, a year tough.
And your election headquarters is also made possible by Potential Real Estate. And this afternoon, the 45th President of the United States of America, Donald Trump, is set to make a return to the White House in February 2025 as the 47th President after winning Tuesday's election against incumbent Vice President Kamala Harris. Donald Trump swept several key swing states and is on course to be the first Republican presidential nominee to win the popular vote in the U.S. in the last 2 decades. Several news outlets in the USA have already projected that Trump has won the election as several world leaders sent congratulatory messages to him. Donald Trump himself has already claimed victory in an address to his supporters hours ago.
Fix our borders, we're going to fix everything about our country, and we made history for a reason tonight, and the reason is going to be just that. We overcame obstacles that nobody thought possible, and it is now clear that we've achieved the most incredible political thing. Look what happened. Is this crazy? I want to thank the American people for the extraordinary honor of being elected your 47th president and your 45th president. And every citizen, I will fight for you, for your family, and your future. Every single day I will be fighting for you, and will not rest until we have delivered the strong, safe, and prosperous America that our children deserve and that you deserve. This will truly be the golden age of America. That's what we have to have. This is a magnificent victory for the American people that will allow us to make America great again. Oh, America has given us an unprecedented and powerful mandate. We have taken back control of the Senate. Wow, that's good.
You heard the U.S. President-elect Donald Trump. Of course, we're yet to hear from Vice President Kamala Harris. And of course, she's yet to also concede defeat in this particular election. And we heard earlier from the co-campaign chair of the team asking supporters who gathered to monitor the election to go home. And with several striking similarities between the U.S. and Ghanaian election, supporters of both the NDC and NPP are already drawing parallels on both social and traditional media, insisting their parties are on course to win the December 7 election. Kwekwa Santi of our political desk has this report on the similarities between both elections and the parallels being drawn.
With both the Ghanaian and US election a month away from each other, a lot of parallels had been drawn between both races. With Trump having won convincingly now, supporters of both the NDC and NPP, especially on social media, are in overdrive, seeking to convince the electorate that Trump's win must mean something for the Ghanaian race. First off, Trump, a former president in the same boat as John Dramani Mahama, both former leaders seeking to reclaim the presidency. Trump has won, and the NDC says Sankofa is certainly happening in Ghana. Again, both Trump and Mahama, the former presidents, run against incumbent vice presidents in Kamala Harris and Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Both the dynamic of a former president winning and incumbent vice president losing in the USA has gone against the NPP in Ghana. But some NPP supporters, especially on social media, say they still feel some similarity to the Republicans who have won the presidency in the US. After all, both the NPP and Republicans have the elephant as their party symbol. Ghana's own election is barely a month away, and definitely the electorate in Ghana and the US have minds of their own, despite the campaigns in both countries running significantly on the economy as the number one factor for the electorate.
And that's Kwekwa Santi's report. He's on the political desk now. The NDC believes the signs from the U.S. election show they are clearly on the path of victory. Mustafa Gbande is Deputy General Secretary for the NDC.
Atmosphere that they overly bastardized Donald Trump. They felt he was a bad leader, but they chose a West brigade of people. The Ghana situation is that they over-bastardized President Mahama, accused him, and it was right at the time, chose President Akufo-Addo, and we are even in regret, perpetual regret. Look, the MPP, today students are going to school. Where are the iPads they promised last 3 months? iPads, they said they are going to give senior high students iPads, for which reason they justify why they have not given fiscal curriculums for our students to learn. Where are the iPads? These are dangerous people around our destiny.
Well, we've been hearing from the Director of Election and Research Analysis of the NPP, Evans Nimako. He says that cannot be the case.
For us as New Patriotic Party shares the center-right philosophy, ideology with the Republican Party of US and Conservative Party of UK. And I must say that if you look at the numbers, you have more than 120 million people voting in their election. And it is becoming clear that the Republicans' candidate, Donald Trump, is about to constitute government. The voters in America are not the same as those voting in Ghana. And I'm not surprised. This is not the first time the NDC will be making such an argument. In 2020, when Mr. Trump lost the election, the NDC said because he was a sitting president and lost, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo was going to lose as well. It turned out to be something else. And so the NDC can wallow in their confused state.
Let me take the conversation to Professor Vladimir Inchidan. So he's an international relations analyst. We are grateful for your time here on the Midday News. Safe to say Donald Trump's victory is a victory for the continent and Ghana in particular, or not?
Absolutely not. There's no correlation between a victory in America and fortunes in Ghana or Africa. Absolutely. It's purely an American issue, but for the world, it means something because his policies would affect the world. So those who are making comparisons of Trump's victory and Ghanaian, whatever it is, are making a big mistake. America's permanent interest lies in exploitation of Africa, African resources, and exploitation of bases in America. And then holding on to their friends like Korea, Japan, Philippines, and South Korea. So to think that his win means something, a victory for Africa, a victory for a certain political party in Ghana, that has no logic.
Well, for those who are making that or drawing that parallels, they mention that this is a race between a vice president and a former president in America, and we're seeing same in Ghana as well. You say there's no way we can compare the two at all.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. The variables are different. Let me give you an analogy.
Mm-hmm.
You can say if it rains, the ground is wet, and then you say, "Oh, you see the ground is wet, so it has rained." This is a fallacy. A former president has come back in America, so a former president in Ghana would come. I mean, let us not. We can play politics with it. We can say, yes, I believe that what that advice the NDC could use is this: that hey, look, do you see? Please, then come and vote as. It can be used for political gains, but to say that the logic is there for it to happen, I don't think there's any logic there. I don't think so.
Well, you insist that the dynamics are different, but really, let me find out though, this a comeback of Donald Trump, how different will it be? Is there anything in it, actually, for the continent, you'd say?
That's what I'm saying, that nothing will change. American foreign policy does not change overnight. When Obama was coming, there was so much enthusiasm in Africa that something was going to happen because he's a black person or whatever it is. And I remember very well that time, I warned the media that it's not true that anything was going to change, that Obama was going to bring some fortunes to Africa, sending money to Africa. You would realize that it was Obama's time that Africa rather suffered the more. They invaded Africa, they overthrew Gaddafi, etc., etc. Now we are having a problem in the Sahel, all during Obama's time. So for heaven's sake, America's interest is what will make an American president work. Let us not assume that because Trump has come, something is going to change in American foreign policy. The policies are the same and will not change. It may be nuanced. For example, their interest in Africa over resources. Right now that Africa is chasing them out. Niger has chased them out. Mali has chased them out. Guinea has chased them out, and Burkina. They may be looking for other places like Ghana, Nigeria, Botswana, and that sort of thing to replace the losses in Africa. That is what they will be doing.
You sound like you saw this coming, though. But what would you say briefly did the trick for Donald Trump, seeing all that we saw and all that we heard?
What did the trick was perhaps two things. The global economy was receding, and it affected America seriously. They have never gotten out of the cold, which was brought by the pandemic. That's number one. And the American economy was dwindling seriously. In fact, prices for housing had gone up about 30%, and things like that. Unemployment rate had gone up. So the economy played a part. Number two, the Democrats did themselves in by spending all the time to demonize Trump. And whilst they were doing that, the international situation also did not help them. Everybody was angry why Biden and Kamala were unable to solve the Israeli question, the Middle East question, and that they were just sheepishly watching on while Israel was just killing and killing and killing. So those black votes, Muslim votes, Islamic votes, and things like that in America, the sympathy went to the Republicans. So these are the two things that happened: the economy and the foreign policy of Biden.
Okay, we are grateful. That's Professor Vladimir Enchidansu. He's an international relations expert. And of course, the discussion continues right here on your election headquarters. There's more also on myjoyonline.com. But still on the U.S. elections, the U.S. ambassador to Ghana, Virginia Palmer, has urged Ghanaian political leaders to sign the peace pact ahead of the elections, our own elections in December in Ghana. Speaking at her official residence in Accra as election results from the U.S. trickled in, Ambassador Palmer told journalists she expects Ghana's elections to be peaceful, but the signing of the peace pact will symbolize a commitment to ensuring peace.
I'll call again for early signing of the peace pact. I'll call on political leaders to come down hard on other candidates in races down the ticket, or even people just raising a ruckus in constituencies across the nation for coming out and saying that's not the kind of election we want to have. I saw a great poster. I went to see the Northern regional minister, or the regional minister for Northern region, and he had a sign, big sign on the front door that said, "Don't insult your political opponents," which I thought, well, that sums it up.
Well, Ambassador Palmer also adds that the policy of imposing visa restrictions on Ghanaians who undermine the country's democracy is not exclusive to Ghana. She says the policy has been implemented in other countries on the continent and in Latin America to deter people from engaging in election violence.
That's a policy that we have begun to roll out. So Ghana is the fourth country in Africa, I think, where we've announced it. We also have instituted that policy in Europe and Latin America. It's not directed at the government of Ghana or at particular political parties, but we can not just refuse visas, but revoke visas for people who undermine or interfere with Ghana's democratic process.
Virginia Palmer is U.S. ambassador to Ghana. While recognizing the potential impact on Ghanaian politics, voters in Kumasi have been drawing some parallels between the issues that led Americans to re-elect a former president and the present concerns in Ghana's own political landscape. Listen.
I was really shocked because when you look at the polls, I realized that Harris was far ahead of Trump. But today, in fact, it was a shock. I think Ghanaians, anything can happen.
Until the 2020 elections, mostly when the Republican candidate wins an election, it reflects in Ghana. When a Democrat candidate wins the election, it's also reflecting Ghana. So we have that interesting demographic. But I think that the issues in this election, mostly about economy, about immigration, healthcare, and all that, has a certain outlook when you look at Ghana.
If you look at the fundamental issues, the focus of the electorate, in Ghana, we are crying of the economy. In Ghana, we are talking about the fact that prices are skyrocketing. In Ghana, there's a challenge with the living standard in terms of the condition of the people. And these were the reasons why Ghanaians voted John Dramani Mahama out in 2016. If that's appear, we are experiencing same.
And now that Trump has won, the NDC people are going to say that we are also going to win because he's a past president who has been re-elected.
Well, some of your views in Kumasi will stay a while longer in the election headquarters, this time focusing on the candidates in this presidential election, just 30 days away. And the New Patriotic Party and the National Democratic Congress are neck and neck in their campaigns for the December polls. The two contenders are touring the Ashanti and Oti regions to clamor for support and vote. NDC presidential candidate John Mahama is urging residents of the Guan constituency in the Oti region to punish the governing NPP for denying them representation in Parliament. Addressing a rally on the last day of his tour of the region, he said a future NDC government agro-processing zones in the region will boost the agriculture sector and create jobs. Maxwell Agbagba has more in this report.
Former President John Mahama concluded his tour of the Oti region with visits to the Nkwanta North and South, Akan, Buem, and Guan constituencies, emphasizing the region's development needs and the NDC's vision for the future. Speaking in the Guan constituency, he outlined plans to transform the agricultural sector by establishing agro-processing zones across the region, which he says would boost farming and create jobs.
We're going to create an agro-industrial zone. We're going to encourage the private sector, with support from government, to set up a factory here to buy all the ginger that you produce and process it for the market. We'll set up a factory here, another one, to buy and produce and process all the rice that you produce in this district. And we're going to set up a factory here to buy and process all the cassava that you are producing here.
John Mahama encouraged residents to hold the governing New Patriotic Party accountable for the 2020 elections, during which the people of Sal in the Guan constituency were left without parliamentary representation due to boundary and constituency issues.
Indeed, Sal, you have to show the MPP government that you are not happy with how they've treated you over the last 4 years. And so you are not going to give us NDC 95%. You are going to give NDC 100%.
Flag bearer of the NDC, John Dramani Mahama, well, the flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, has also assured Ghanaians that his next government will not tolerate bribery and corruption, touting the NPP's efforts in using digitalization to fight the menace. My colleague Nana Boache Dankwa-Yadom has been monitoring that 15-day tour of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Nana Boache, what is the candidate up to today?
Well, Emefa, today is day 3 of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's tour in the Ashanti region. Today he's visiting 3 constituencies. Currently, we are at Riamwase in the Afija Kwabre, Afija Setrek East constituency. He earlier met with the clergy, traditional leaders and stakeholders in the constituency. Right from here, he's going to Kwabre East and he would end the day in the Menchia North constituency. Well, there are some of the things that the Vice President has been touching on. Mainly today, he has touched on his intent to fight corruption with digitalization. He has said that with the use of the Ghana card, the governing New Patriotic Party has been able to clear ghost names from the Senate payroll. And when he's elected president, he's going to intensify that. He's going to intensify his fight against corruption using digitalization.
That's my colleague Nana Boache Dankwa-Yadom. They're giving us updates. Meanwhile, Nana Kwame Bediako, popularly known as Cheddar, has also been marketing his industrialization agenda in Dambai in the OT region.
Can we not transform Ghana too, like it's down abroad? When Oti and Dambai were separated from the Volta region, has there been any development at all? When you vote for them, you will not see any development.
And that's Nana Kwame Bediako, Cheddar. Now it's time for fact checking, and today we are focusing on some recent claims made by Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia at an engagement with the youth here in Accra. Head of our research desk, Raymond Nakwa, joins me in studio with more on the claims and verdicts. Raymond, run us through the claims and the verdicts.
Dr. Bawumia first claimed that the growth of the Ghanaian economy has been revised upwards to 4% for 2024, and the economy indeed grew by a mere 3.4% in 2016.
The economy has been revised upwards to 4% for 2024. To put it into perspective, the economy grew by a mere 3.4% in 2016.
This is true. Indeed, the World Bank in its October 16, 2024 update indicated that growth projection for 2024 has been revised upwards to 4%. Also, data from the Statistical Service show that growth rate for 2016 was indeed 3.4%. Dr. Bawumia then claimed that in 2016, Ghana's economy suffered its lowest growth rate for more than a generation.
In 2016, just a few years after we became an oil-producing country, Ghana's economy, to the shock of the world, suffered its lowest growth rate for more than a generation.
Now, the claim that Ghana's economy suffered its lowest growth rate for more than a generation in 2016 is false. In fact, the data from both the Statistical Service and the World Bank show that in 2014, growth rate was 2.9%, and in 2015, growth rate was 2.1%. They are all lower than the 3.4% recorded in 2016.
Well, we are told also that inflation for October stood at 22.1%, an upward adjustment from the 21% recorded in September. Raymond Nakwa, thank you so much for bringing us a fact-checking today. Let's take a quick break here on the Midday News live on Joy 99.7 FM, also on myjoyonline.com. We are live on X Spaces. We return from the break with sports.
When budgets are tight and money difficult to come by, you want to be sure you get the best value for your money. These are not times to be spending money fixing expensive engine problems because of cheap fuel and lubricants. Drive to a Petrosol station today and buy your quality fuel and lubricants, and rest assured of fuel that lasts long and lubricants that prevent expensive engine problems. Hear the sound. Petrosol, clean fuel in full quantity.
Efia, I've been thinking. Have you noticed the changes in our community?
Kojo, things are really different now. The MPP has really made a difference.
Exactly. Free SHS, healthcare, new factories. It's like a whole new Ghana.
And don't forget, electricity is so much reliable now. I remember when we used to go days without light.
True. The NPP has done a lot to improve the basics.
Ajua is a beneficiary of free SHS, and now she is in university.
And that's the kind of leadership we need. Someone who is focused on making things better for everyone. But Efia, still there are a lot more to be done for the development of Ghana.
Absolutely, Kojo. The NPP has shown that real progress is possible.
On December 7th, let's vote to keep this positive impact going. Vote number 1 on the ballot. Vote NPP for a better and prosperous Ghana.
Attention CEOs, join Ghana's top 1,000 CEOs, policymakers, political leaders, and ambassadors for the first Ghana CEO Presidential Manifesto Gala Dinner 2024 on November 7, 2024 at the Mervyn Pig Hotel, Accra from 6 to 10:30 p.m. This historic event will focus on reigniting the business economy and social contract for growth, a business manifesto for political accountability and sustainable development. Special guests of honor include His Excellency Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, Vice President of Ghana, and His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, former President of Ghana. Attendance is by invitation and requires pre-registration. Register at ceogaladina.ceonetworkgh.com. For inquiries, contact 0546391970 or email ceogaladina@gmail.com. This event is powered by Chief Executives Network Ghana in partnership with Deloitte, PwC, University of Ghana, SIGA, GIPC, UPSA Law, and the Multimedia Group. The first Ghana CEO Presidential Manifesto Gala Dinner 2024, connecting political ambitions with business realities.
The luckiest star 712 #. Luck is everywhere for everyone, yeah.
Here's to the friends who dialed star 712 # and found no regrets. To the investors who struck gold. To the health workers who diagnosed luck with precision. To the tough guy who couldn't hold back his tears. To the passionate fan who couldn't contain his joy. To the seamstress who turned her hard-earned stitches into a bundle of happiness. And now, here's to you. Your next big win is right here.
Luck is everywhere for everyone.
Dial star 712 #. Now join in the luckiest winning celebration. Every 1st July 2024. Over dial star 712 #. Now I can to tickets as a group, individual, and now even as a community. Now win is the prizes are in the community draw or go for the grand draw on the 30th of November 2024. Unlock your luck with star 712 #. Now join in the winning streak now.
The luckiest star 712 #. Luck is everywhere for everyone, yeah. The luckiest.
Sigma, ooh, ooh. Make life easier with Sigma appliances. Yeah, your excellent go-to choice. 5 Sigma appliances. Ooh, ooh.
Quality meets affordability at Sigma Appliances. From air conditioners, fridges, freezers, washing machines, small appliances, and more. Sigma Appliances has them all. Visit Platinum Impex on the Sprinters Road behind Okadeco for wholesale, or find Sigma products at your nearest home appliance store. Call 030-280-1555 or WhatsApp +233-55-466-6444. Visit PlatinumImpex.net. Sigma Appliances is the perfect choice for your home.
Thanks for staying with us. Let's do sports. Victor Achu.
Well, let's talk about the Ghana Football Association, because plans to introduce regulation supporting a 3rd term of office for its president has been met with fierce resistance even before it makes its way to the Executive Council. Here's former president of the GFA, Dr. Nahotama Klum, explaining why 2 terms should be enough for any project.
My main reason for saying this is that Graphic asked me that there's a rumor going around that the present leadership at the FA intends coming out with a suggestion that will lead to the extension of the term the president of the FA. I think the FA has a constitution, and the constitution has come out clearly that the term should be 2 terms, just like we have in this country in our constitution or the US. So to me, we have to go by the constitution, and if it comes to defend the constitution, I will definitely do that.
As former president of the Ghana Football Association, Dr. Naho Tamaklo.
Thank you very much, Mr. Victor Achu. Well, let's go. And guess who's back? MNJ, the J in the M. What's up?
Well,
what are people talking about?
A lot of stuff on social media, but then American celebrities are trending, after the US elections, especially Cardi B. She fully endorsed Kamala Harris. And most of the celebrities, someone says that Beyonce, Taylor Swift, Lady Gaga, Katy Perry, it's like a long list of celebrities, and they are trending. So after Cardi B posted, we need a Hail Mary, and people are going on her hard on social media. So this one says that no one says, I was going to vote for Kamala, but then I saw you endorse there and I voted for Trump.
Jackie, there's more. I'm sure throughout the day we'll bring that to our listeners. And apologies for not bringing you the story on the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission condemning Clocksac's decision to start striking tomorrow, calling it an act of bad faith, giving ongoing negotiations for a new salary structure. Also, much later, we'll bring you our climate focus series. I am Emefa Apawu. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com. Living Word with Pastor Mensa Otabil is up next. Faith to receive. Do stay.